I didn't do the countdown. Counting down.
Hey, good morning, folks. Happy Monday. Good to see you all, Patriots all. We are here for Wake Up Patriots, and you're the Patriots, and so are we. Hey, it works out great that way. So welcome back. It's a great week, a busy news weekend. Everything from Nancy Pelosi proposing that Joe Biden's face be added to Mount Rushmore to the second gentleman announcing that he had a love child that was aborted. That makes sense. And of course, I'm joined as always by Chris Cordani. Chris, are you there? There he is. There's Chris.
Right here. They'll have to call it Mount Flushmore if that's the case. With
let's just jump right into it. So here near where I live, there's a place called Mount Trashmore. And do you know what Mount Trashmore is made of?
Trash. I think I want to see that place.
So this is real. And so I think what Nancy Pelosi said is that Joe Biden should be in Mount Trashmore, not on it. Just saying. I think she misspoke. I think she recognized the error of her ways but how many? But maybe you guys in the audience in the Patriots can answer this. How many bottles of vodka did she consume before she did that interview? Was it one or two? I think it's a twofer. Just saying. I don't think she could have gone into that without a lot of vodka. What do you think?
There is no way I would ever. Right. There's no way I would ever. I guess the word would be. Yeah, the word would be. I'd have to be very inebriated to actually go on air and say Joe Biden should be honored for any portion of his presidency at this point for any reason.
Well,
she had to have been at least two bottles for this.
I think it's two bottles because for that level of like the dog thing, like what? It was like, and so, but anyway, so what do you make? I'll let you get into your articles here in a second, but what did you make of Doug? What's his name? The second gentleman. That guy. Can you imagine? Well, this is gross, but I think we have to address it. Can you imagine that guy with a nanny? I mean, it's just like, I don't get it. Did you see that article about the having an affair?
This is the first. That's on the first wife, right? This is
there it is.
Doug Emhoff cheated on his first wife with
Doug
daughter nanny Nasian Naylor and got her pregnant. Well, I guess that's why they're all for abortion over there. Here's something funny about this. All eyes are on the optics over this, but I would worry more about Emhoff's law firm and how a lot of his clients are associated with the Chinese Communist Party and other nefarious creatures throughout the New World Order. So this is what I would be worried about more than some kind of affair or whether he and Kamala share vodka with Nancy Pelosi, to be honest with you.
Well, they share a lot of things with Nancy.
Well, she doesn't share her vodka. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, so no, but that's a great thread to pull. So what you're saying, and I agree, is that the West Coast libs, the California libs, all have direct ties to China. We're talking about Gavin Newsom, who basically cleaned up the streets of San Francisco to impress Xi. I guess he's like interviewing for a job. Newsom, that is, and then our friend Schiff. Is it Schiff? That's his name, right?
Shifty Schiff. Yes,
Adam Schiff, who is trying
guy. Yes,
working to be the next senator, and then of course there's Eric Schwalwell or whatever his name is, who actually had a very short affair because he's not that size matters, but a short affair with a Chinese spy. So they're all related to spies. China, right? I mean, I think that's what you're saying.
They're all intertwined. they're not only the Democrats or the left coast Democrats intertwined, same with the Washington Democrats, intertwined with the media, they're intertwined with the CCP and lobbyists all over the
Yeah,
place.
right.
This is no longer. Joe Biden used to go, "The Republicans aren't your grandfather's Republicans." Well, certainly the Democrats aren't your grandfather's Democrats. They're not for the worker anymore. They are the party of the rich at this point.
Right. Well, that's, I think, abundantly apparent, especially with the way Trump's been campaigning. Basically, he's going out and talking to those folks, blue collar worker. Basically, Trump has become an advocate of labor, American manufacturing, defending American markets, all these things that the Republicans were not necessarily for in the past. But I think it's not your father's Republican Party. It's a much more practical, focused on the middle class party. What would you agree with that?
And not only that, it's more of an optics party. All the Democrats at this point, besides the rich elite and everything else, is the optics. Whether
Yeah,
people feel good watching what they do, and oh, here you go. They can't come up with any positive policy over 3 years. So they have to go, hey, first woman president, get the first woman president crowd that was fawning over Hillary Clinton some years ago.
yeah.
And
So, well,
bring in
let's
her.
talk about the show today because we're going to get into it. We're going to do a little bit more common news, but we got a number of folks who we know and love today. We have Dr. Jerry Corsi coming up at 20, right? 20 after the hour, right?
Yes,
He's
20
coming
after
in.
the hour. Yep. And another
And
special
then,
guest.
yeah, and who tell the good folks about the special guest.
Okay, the special guest will not be this person here in this picture. So don't worry, we're not going to have cackling Kamala coming on with us. What we
Oh my
will
God.
have is the very cool Cheryl Chumley. And
Yes.
you'll be on her podcast too, by the way. She's the host of the Brave and
Right.
the Bold with the Washington Examiner, Washington Times, excuse me. And
So we'll be talking to her later today. Well, I'll be talking to her twice today.
yes, you
But yeah,
will.
the Kamala Harris thing, I was just tweeting on this. I basically said that her cackle is like Satan putting a trumpet and a chicken together and tweeting and basically trumpeting out the apocalypse. That's the way I think it is. Boy,
Oh, that's
it,
horrible.
it is apocalyptic, the Kamala Harris. So did you know that there's reports of people having ear hemorrhaging from listening to her cackle at conventions?
Well, you know what? I think we should have her next time sing instead of Celine Dion at the Olympic opening ceremonies and show the New World Order what it's really brought to the world.
Well, I think she could be part of that bacchanalian antichrist thing. I mean,
No,
she could be very helpful in that since she is
nobody
part of.
wants to see that woman shirtless. No, 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 no.
No, I didn't say shirtless, but I'm
Like
saying she's Satan's spawn, so she would fit right in. I mean, it's
That-
true. It's
that's a
true.
good point. I'm with you there.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, if Satan had a dollar, remember, didn't Obama used to say that if I had a son, he would look like that? Well, if Satan had a daughter, she'd look like that. Just saying.
oh yeah, she hides the horns well with that when she puts her hair up a little bit. So I guess that works. Or are demonettes allowed to have horns? I mean, because they're female demons, they're demonettes, right? Do they
Well,
like to have
I don't know. Do you think we could get Kamala's team on the show and ask him that question? You think they'd let me ask that question? I would ask it and make him get up really upset. They probably would
okay,
never have me talk to him again. And by the way, that's probably why. The left doesn't have a sense of humor, Chris. Did you notice that? They have no
they,
sense
ne-
of humor.
they never did. In fact, here's something funny. She would not come on the show with you because, despite what she says about Trump and this whole thing about the ABC debate, she was afraid to go visit the NABJ with Donald Trump at the same time, and that's
Yeah.
friendly territory for her. So she wants the Biden rules, just like
So
Biden set up, and they're not. She's
yeah,
not going to get.
so I see the good folks are showing up in the chat. The Patriots are here. So I
Yes.
want to ask our Patriots in the chat. Do you think so? Both, Trump said no to ABC, which I don't blame him. George Stachanopoulos or Stickanopoulos, whatever his stick is, uh, I wouldn't go on with Joe. Joe was trying to demean a black man over the weekend. There was a horrible. It's on my Twitter feed. If anyone wants to check it out, it was horrible. And then so Kamala said no to Fox. Trump said no to ABC. My question to our patriots is: do you all think there will be a debate? Period. So that's the question. So you guys can jump in and answer it, and I'll try to look at your answers in the chat. But do you think there'll be a thing? I'll type it out too.
Yeah, it would have to be. And the funny thing is, he wants it on Fox. Uh, okay, here's how I want to start this. The Biden rules were set up with Donald Trump, and I guess there was this whole big deal. There wouldn't be a debate without them. So now they pull the switcheroo, and still Kamala's camp and ABC want the Biden rules. No,
Yeah,
they should have a real debate with real people in the audience,
yeah, of
and
course.
that renders Kamala Harris's camp the fearful ones, and not
Yeah. Well,
Trump
most folks are voting yes. I agree. I'm with the yes. I think there's still going to be a debate. It's just they're
There
going to
will
have to
be. There
figure
has
out
to be.
common. Yeah.
Uh,
I don't think Kamala's ego will permit her to not do something. I mean, she's pretty good with
she's afraid to go on
things.
Fox. Right? That's
She's a
true.
yeah, yeah, she
Yeah.
is.
So if she was afraid to go to the NABJ, she's afraid to go on Fox.
Did you say
So
BJ? You shouldn't say BJ in there.
I guess not for Kamala. I guess that's a good point. But again, here's something. How about having the debate on some place like C-SPAN or News Nation or maybe just the news or something like that? We have at least a more even keeled set of reporters or even keeled editorial staff putting that together. No,
I,
I'm afraid that the left doesn't want to come there either because real questions will be asked of them.
well, that's the whole issue is real questions.
Real questions.
And well, I look. You and I both know that she can't answer. It's like, did you get the latest one? That oh, your information's in the cloud, over your head. It's in the clouds. Like, really, really? I mean, that's how stupid she is. I've said on the record she's stupid. That's stupid.
No,
That's not even like halfway explainable. It's like everybody knows that it's stuck with Jack, Jack and the Beanstalk. It's up with a giant in his castle. It's not in the clouds, right? Right, Chris?
exactly, and to actually package this woman as competent, knows what she's doing, and a strong woman, it's absolutely phony. First off, so let's get the strong woman thing. The woman, it sounds like she's about to burst into tears every time she talks. When she's not pandering and faking an accent, that is, or cackling. It sounds
Yeah.
like she's about to burst into tears, and of course, the liberal phony tears. She,
So let me ask you a question about that. So now that she's not really a strong woman, she did have an event in Atlanta. Remember, everybody saw the Atlanta event, which, by the way, Trump's crowd was head and shoulders above Kamala's.
right?
But didn't she have Megan Three Stallion, and she was talking about her
Oh
wet
yeah,
something,
yeah, yeah. Again, nice and appropriate.
something that
I
I
guess.
can't say on the air, even here.
Yep. I guess Cardi B was busy, wasn't she?
Well, Cardi B was off, doing things on polls. Just saying, but
Maybe Mary Carey was too busy to do campaigning for her.
yeah. But my point is, well, my point is pretty obvious. Is like, okay, you're bringing in these singers who pretend to be artists, artists, and that's the only reason people showed up. I don't believe for a minute they're interested in Kamala Mala Ding Dong. For a minute, I think it was all them doing what they can. And I guess as there's a credible story out today that the Harris campaign is paying $20,000 per influencer to get them to show up at certain events. And did you see this Republicans for Kamala thing? It's like there's no Republicans for Kamala.
It's
It's
that fake
all
Lincoln
it's
Project. Yeah.
it's like, come on. Oh my God.
No,
It's like,
Republicans for Kamala are Republicans for the New World Order. Now, here's what I
yes.
say: if Kamala Harris was so tough, right? What we should do is have her, instead of debating Donald Trump, show her toughness by joining the international boxing field and fighting against this Imam Khalif character. That'll
Yeah.
show her toughness. I'll say.
Do you have
There
that it's a man, baby. You gotta have that on there with Austin Powers.
we
It's a
go.
man, baby.
Oh man,
That's
it's
no
cool.
woman.
That's
That's no
right. Hey,
woman.
hey, if again, this. By the way, at this moment, what's going on right now is the international, boxing association, the IBA, International Boxing Association, is holding a press conference, and they're discussing all of this. Reporters are trying to blame right wing outrage over what's
I
going
know.
on
I
there.
saw. It's not. No. Anybody who actually understands the need to preserve women's sports, women's rights, you don't let guys pretend to be girls and let the guys go in and beat them up. This is
No,
insane. This
no.
is not about right or left. It's like right or wrong. Literally, it's like,
Well,
please.
on the good side. what you're watching is you're also watching officials from the IBA saying it's not even about optics or gender identity. It's about keeping the sport safe.
Yeah.
And that should be
Well,
priority 1 here. I mean, I
yeah.
understand boxing is a more a combat sport. It's going to people are gonna get beaten up, but you have to be able to fight in the weight class. You don't have a 250-pound male boxing a 125-pound male in international competition for a reason.
Right.
This should be the same thing right here, and it's
Right.
common sense. The left doesn't like common sense. They just don't wanna stigmatize, like that Weenie said last week from the IOC. We just don't we don't wanna stigmatize anybody.
Yeah, I know. This is dangerous, and the pandering to the left. This is Marxism 101. For the patriots who follow this, this is what Marxism looks like. This is where the basic political construct of any
How
organization or
close are we
country.
gonna get how close are we gonna get to World War III here if this is going on as far as,
Well, pretty close.
yeah, as far as,
But I'm
the
just saying,
Middle East?
Chris, the
Yep,
people need to understand that what you're seeing here with all this social unrest, this is all planned.
right.
They're doing this
It's
purposely to disrupt the order and discipline of what people consider to be normal. By the way, you see all that this whole weird campaign going on with JD Vance. Like, yeah, I don't think he's weird. I think you guys are like drawing attention to your own hideousness. But what is not hideous, and I didn't bring up the thing for Paul Stone and Company. Let's do a quick read for Paul and Company. I want to do another one at the end, but one of the things that we're going to have tomorrow, Chris, right? Paul Stone is going to be on with us tomorrow, right? Chris, you still there? Chris.
yeah, it's part of it. It's
Yeah, Chris, are you hearing? Am I not getting into it? Anyway, so let's do a quick read for Paul Stone stuff.
I'm good. I froze a little bit.
Yeah,
Apologies.
so I want to do a read. Can you get the thing up for Paul for
Yeah, I
those
got it.
folks?
I'm there. Just, yeah, I always do it when you start the read, so
All right, here we go.
yeah.
So anyway, tomorrow, right, Chris? Paul's going to be on with us tomorrow. Paul Stone
Paul is
runs.
on tomorrow. He's got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, he's going to be on with us tomorrow. Colonial Metals Group. And so I think you need to consider reaching out to he and his folks. He's going to be talking about the economy. So did you all know that on Friday the Dow dropped? I think it was 3%, and it's dropped 3% because there are indications that the economy is about to tank. So what you need to do is be prepared for the worst case scenario, and that means diversification of your portfolio. You can diversify into a number of key things other than stock, and one of those things is gold and silver. So with Colonial Metals Group, you can find out some great options which will help you protect you and your family through these hard economic times, and they're going to happen. We always see cycles in the global economy. We're going through another one, and so I think the dropping of the Dow 3 points is just the tip of the iceberg, so to speak, because if we actually see a war this week, and as a matter of fact, at the time of the show here right now, we are looking at a potential Middle East full-out war. We've had forces go forward, U.S. forces go forward. There's rumors that the Iranians are going to retaliate. If we see a war in the Middle East, you're going to see global challenges, I mean, literally, world economic challenges that will affect all of us, and not in small ways. I mean, you think the price of gas is bad now. Wait until a war happens. If you think that it's difficult to buy things and have your investments pay off, wait until a war. So that's what I'm saying. Call Paul and his folks. Go to the website. Either go check out the website, which is right there on the screen, colonialmetalsgroup.com/ed-henry/ or call them if you want to do it the old-fashioned way. 800-805-4034. Again, 800-805-4034. You will thank us later for helping you save your hard-earned income and resources. Anyway, back to the show. And we're going to be joined, if not already, we're going to be joined by Jerry Corsi here, right, Chris?
Where he's right here, as
It's
a
Dr.
matter of fact.
Corsi.
Yeah,
There he is.
Dr.
Hi,
C is in
Tony.
the house.
Hey,
Hi,
good
Tony.
morning. There's Dr. Jerry Corsi. Dr. Corsi is joining us to talk about a number of things. So, Jerry, welcome to Wake Up Patriots. Say hello to the good Patriots.
Well, Patriots, welcome. And I've got a big announcement for you, Tony.
All right. Well, so without further ado, Dr. Corsi has an announcement. Jerry, take it away.
Well, Chris, if you'll put up the God's Five Stones, please, the foundation. It's GODS, no apostrophe, FIVE spelled out, STONES, gods5stones.com. And this is the foundation that we have created to, right now we're exposing all of the fraud that is going on in the voter registration databases. Now, we have found algorithms which are manipulations of the State Board of Election voter registrations that put a numeric scheme into the voting so that they change. And what this does, you know this, and Tony, you're going to play a major role in this.
Yeah, I full disclosure, I'm working with Jerry on this, so I've been on the calls on this stuff too. So,
well, and in fact, it's going operational next Tuesday. We have meetings in Ohio with the Ohio state officials to explain the algorithms, and once this is seen, what it means is that from within the command center, by getting control of the State Board of Election, these operatives are able to put a code, like the military communicates in the codes in the battlefield, so nobody knows what they're saying. Well, this code is elaborate. It's like a national security agency code, but it allows you to create false voter records that are either clones, copies of records, or they're ghost records. And the people who create this scheme, here's paper on it that explains the scheme. And Tony, you've looked at it, you see that it's real. There is an algorithmic,
no doubt, it's real.
What is so important about this is that Tony can validate it. Okay, now we need funding because we're going into Ohio. We're going to do a campaign in Ohio. Now, I think, Tony, I want this week, I'm going to need from you in writing an analysis of just one page that says this needs to be looked at.
I'll add this to my list of things to do today, so I do have it on my list. So.
Perfect. And then if we get that, we're going to go and say this means that what the Democrats can do is they could say before an election starts, here's the votes we need, and we're going to pull them out. It's like card stacking in Vegas. You think you're in a casino with a legitimate 21 game, but they're dealing with you a shoe of 5-card deck that they're dealing you the cards they want to deal you, and you're losing because they mark the cards. So they can pull out the fake rolls, the ones that look legitimate. Even the other state board election officials wouldn't recognize them as fake, and they can say, well, we want a mail-in ballot. And they can get that mail-in ballot either rolling as the election's going on, or they can stop counting and get a bunch of them. And because they apparently a real number in the state election of voter registration basis requested a mail-in ballot, and they get it and print it, they can certify it. So this is what was the missing piece, because we kept wondering in 2020, how are they certifying these elections? They're certifying the elections because they've rigged the voter registration database inside the election board. Now, this validates everything everybody else is finding.
Right.
So suddenly, we have a national ability. We found these algorithms in 13 states. Now, if we can get this out here, and I think I'll be working in Ohio for the next couple of weeks. The next couple of weeks, I'm going to be 100% in Ohio. It's going to cost some money. Donate here. Just all the information's here on the website.
Yeah, check out the information that Jerry's given you guys regarding how to support the project. It's very important.
And we are going to go in and make a national case of this from Ohio, because in Ohio is particularly vulnerable. In other words, what they've done is counties like Marion County, which is outside Toledo, very rural county. It's mostly Republican. They didn't alter the the state election board left it legitimate. So you come in, you register number one in that county, you get state voter ID number one, and et cetera. It's linear.
Yeah.
So it's a straight line. But you go over by Youngstown and the scattergram, the points of where the where the voter IDs are all in one quadrant. Well, that's not possible.
Right.
Okay, so that means they've set that up for cheating. Now, we're not going to say that this is the Kraken or that we know they've used this. We're going to be more subtle than that. We're going to say this demands investigation. And I'm going to be in Ohio, and we're going to make sure that everybody in Ohio knows that they're voting with a stacked deck of voter registrations, and that can't happen.
So when it comes to this, one of the things that I've noted, and I said the other night, and I'm going to say it again now, Jerry, is that it's interesting that they've done this at the local level. But if you can do this, implement this at the state level, I'm not saying they did, but I'm saying if you did this, say in Pennsylvania, you could then, by having control of the numbers on both ends, that is to say, you have a certain number of folks who are registered voters, and then you have the number of registered voters you have to match to the actual number of ballots of what they've cast, the ballots cast. And so if you can change that number at will using an algorithm, you could come up with whatever number to match the outcome that you want, right?
And in fact, you could run the election before anybody voted.
Right.
You could just say, you could do a political scientist, get 5 or 6 political scientists in here and say, here's how we're going to run the election. This is what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
Okay. And so once we get, and I think this is being used internationally because you see it, the same pattern using Venezuela is using it.
Yeah.
Now again, what we're going to call for is investigation. We're not going to come in with irresponsible accusations. We're not going to get beyond our evidence. We're going to stay very tight to our evidence. But in staying tight to the evidence, and this will validate, we're going to be changing the website today so that people can either send in checks, you can donate by these QRs. And also, by the way, we will have on it, if you know voter irregularities going on in your state, report them to us, because we're going to make this a national campaign coming out of Ohio. And since we've got a vice presidential campaign here with Ohio, we're going to make sure that we get nationwide. And this validates what everybody's got. So all the people have been saying, well, more people voted in this precinct than were registered. Well, you can do that with an algorithm.
Right.
Or this precinct voted, it's never voted this heavily for Biden. Well, you can do that with an algorithm. So all these anomalies we're seeing now have a way to go back and be explained. And we're finding these algorithms are in every state we're looking at so far.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know they're in every state yet. We haven't looked at every state, but if we get enough funding, we'll make this national and we'll do it quickly.
Well, the problem I see, obviously, Jerry, is that certain machines, I don't want to get into anything that's going to get us sued or Ed.
No,
we're just, but there's very clear that certain election companies, certain election machine companies are more apt to allowing these sort of shenanigans than others because they allow for a system rather than hand-marked paper ballots being used and retained. There's systems. Yeah.
It is downstreams. In other words, instead of blaming the machines, instead of looking for the anomalies in the machines, we look for the anomalies in the command center.
Yes.
Okay. And then that explains some of the things we're seeing in the field. Now, the solutions to this are going to be complex. I mean, we're going to have to really think about how we want voter integrity. But right now, I think we're going to be able to demonstrate, and this is Andy Paquette's work. He's a computer genius. He is a computer graphics. He had a PhD from the London School in London. I mean, it's a brilliant guy.
Yeah.
And he really did incredible work figuring out what the algorithm looks like. We have one state, New York, where the algorithm is completely cracked.
So so this will be very interesting to go through. By the way, Jerry, do you think you guys could help design an algorithm that negates Kamala Harris's cackle? Can you do something that cancels out anytime that it's like a universal algorithm that goes out and eats it up? It's seeks out the cat. There it is. Oh my God. Oh.
I think Tony, we're going to have to invoke God's assistance to get this. The next meeting. This is going to take divine. I think we better devise a prayer to Saint Michael here to get this one solved.
Right.
So
Now, what I will tell you is a project, Jerry, you're not working on, and I want to make sure it's clarified because Tony brought this up earlier today, is that you will not be working on the project to add Joe Biden to Mount Rushmore.
No, unfortunately,
we're not fundraising for that.
We're not fundraising for that. We're not doing that at all. No, we're not doing that.
No, Jerry. I think it's a worthwhile project because what you could do is remember there's another big monument. There's the big Indian monument out there, right, Chris?
Yes, there is.
He should swim in the Steen River. That's what I think.
So no, what I was thinking is that you could do Joe Biden's head on the ass of the horse of that Indian. Remember, there's the Indian, and then Joe Biden could be the back end of the horse that he's riding. So I think that could be dramatic.
It's not just the senior dementia. It's the all of the. Hold on a second.
Well,
John,
here is Mount Trashmore
immediately. Okay.
There it is. I told you. See, it exists. Yeah. So Mount Trashmore is in Virginia Beach, and so I think you could take and do like a garbage statue of Joe Biden using used pens and spam containers. I think it'd be great. I think it'd be lifelike.
It's not only the fact of the senior dementia and that we've been lied to for all this time about his competence, but the corruption is massive. I mean, the amount of corruption is just massive. And everywhere you look, Ukraine's now got F-16s. And what are they going to do with F-16s? I mean, it's like,
not a damn thing.
These people want World War III. They're demons. Yeah. And that we're going after this in a major way. This book will be out on the 13th. And it's now I've got my first copy. It's going to be a war room book.
Oh, good. I want to get a copy of that too. Is it on? Let me know when it's on Amazon and I'll pick up a copy.
It's on Amazon. It'll be out. It's being delivered on August 13th.
Oh, I'll go to Amazon right now.
Yeah, go to Amazon and get it because it's now, and we've created the Anti-Globalist Alliance in the United States and in Europe. And we're going to beat these guys. These demons are going back to hell. And what we found in the algorithms is, I think, massive. It can be proven. I'm going to get Tony. Your letter is going to be extremely important because you've got the national security credentials, and you are qualified.
Yeah.
So I mean, I have helped Andrew Paquette find it. I mean, Andrew Paquette did the work. This is his work. My job is to make people aware of it. Yeah. But I'm not a professional. I'm not a professional code breaker. I don't have the NSA qualifications, but whereas you have these qualifications and others, we're finding others coming forward equally qualified, and we're going to have people saying this is real. So the government in Ohio, they look at this, are not going to be making a speculative decision, and the courts are going to say, okay, we don't know anything about code breaking and all of this, but if the experts tell us it's there, we better go look. So we want to know before we vote. And candidates who are going to be, whose future is going to be dependent upon this, ought to want to know too.
Right.
So that's the next 2 weeks is going to be full bore on this issue.
Well, go check out Jerry's book. I just ordered it on Amazon. Pre-order. It's not available yet, but it's going to be out soon, right, Jerry?
Yeah, it's going to be out. I've got my copy, and here it is, and it will be out. It's now being delivered. It'll be starting to be delivered on the 13th, which is next Tuesday.
Jerry, is there a section in the back where you have a Klaus Schwab scratch and sniff that smells like Old Spice and Vienna sausage? Because I think that would really help itself.
At the back of the book, he does have a Nazi salute. I hope that'll be.
There you go. See, there you go. At least you got something. It's not as good as scratch and stuff, but you got something.
Yeah, there's your Klaus Schwab right there. Okay,
that's right.
But by the way, I do want to say to anybody, to all those out there, want an easier way to get to the book here, the Anti-Globalist Manifesto. Dr. Corsi's podcast is right now on the Truth Central. It's going to change over a little bit, but scroll down a little bit. You can find all the books here, including the Anti-Globalist Manifesto. Click on that, and it'll get you right to the Amazon page.
Great.
Well, Tony, I appreciate coming on. Cheryl, good to see you.
We'll have you tomorrow again. Yeah. So
the God's Five Stones, Gods, no apostrophe, FIVE spelled out, STONES, God5stones.com. and all the information's there. There's going to be more. We're revising it again today, and I'll be in Ohio all next week until we get this firmly established nationwide. This is going to become a major national issue.
Yep.
And it's going to unify all those who've been working on voter integrity, because it validates a lot of their data and takes them out of saying that we're no longer, questioning a legitimate election. No, we're saying these algorithms are there. We want them investigated before they're used. We don't know if they've been used. We want to know the truth.
Yeah.
And cryptography agency, like yourself, firms that deal in codes and, code breaking are willing to put, like you, Tony, put their names on the stationery and say, this is real. It's alarming, and it needs to be investigated.
Yeah. So we'll do that. All right. Well, thanks, Jerry, for being with us this morning. We'll have you back tomorrow, talk more about this, and we'll see you then.
Tony. Greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now, without further ado, we're being joined by Cheryl Chumley. Good morning, Cheryl. Welcome to Wake Up Patriots. And
hey, Cheryl.
Good morning. How are you both? Glad to be with you.
Good to have you. And the Patriots are looking forward to having our discussions and comments and everything. And we're going to be on we're going to tape your program later today, right? At 2:00.
Yep. 2:00. Yep. More politics to follow. So tune into that too.
So speaking of politics, I know Chris wants to ask you a few questions, but I'm sure the audience wants to know, is there any hope at all that we can get the FCC to ban Kamala's cackle before the election? Is there any way we could have the FCC come in and say this is a danger to people's ears and the bleeding, and document the bleeding of the ears from her cackle?
But they couldn't get rid of Hillary, so it's not looking good on Kamala's either. Sorry to say.
Well, it's still a constitutional issue. Besides, we still want her to keep exposing herself.
Yes, yeah, that's true.
What's really annoying is that last week you heard that fake Southern accent, the pandering Southern accent. She's really taken her campaign strategy book out of both Obama's and Hillary's plans here. It was amazing. Yeah. Remember what was it? Hillary's awful Southern accent. She is following in the destructive footsteps of Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign. All I'm watching is, I'm a woman. She adds of color to it, which is the same thing. I'm a woman. Oh, it's time for a woman to run. Or the cackling, the laughing, and acting like she's all just one of us, and the fake accent, and that also fake black accent that she has that she adds too when she's pandering to other people. This is right out of the Hillary Clinton playbook, and it's going to show in about 2 weeks. The honeymoon with her will be over, and she is going to score about as well as Hillary did.
Well, let me break that down and ask a question based on what you just said, Chris, to Cheryl. So I think the whole effort to pretend she wasn't the border czar has resulted in the Streisand effect. Like everything she's ever said or was said about her being that, it's like come back up. So it's like, yeah, she said it. Also, despite George Stephanopoulos, what's his name? George ABC.
George Stephanopoulos, right?
Stephanopoulos, yeah, like he's got this big nose. But anyway, he actually said over the weekend to a black man that President Biden President Trump was basically insulting. There he is. That's George. This is George before his nose surgery, right? Right, Chris?
Exactly.
This is before his Clinton White House days.
Yes.
But my point to you, Cheryl, is that everything they're doing right now to change the focus of it seems to be backfiring. I mean, yeah, there's like an uptick, but I think you can only get so much out of Megan Three Stallions wet, whatever she said it was on stage. So what do you make of the direction of and by the way, if you go to, and I'm not encouraging this because you might get blinded, but if you go to the Harris website, the campaign website, there's not a single policy on there. So what do you think, Cheryl? Yeah, there can't be. So what do you think?
They're basically trying to gaslight the American people, right? And you're right, their campaign's not working. Remember there was like a blip where she was talking about JD Vance as weird, and then JD
Yeah.
Vance came out and shut her down, and so we've quickly moved on from that. And they're just trying to gaslight her so-called accomplishments as senator and vice president, because there aren't any. And that's what Democrats do. Look at Barack Obama's whole campaign.
Oh.
Hope and change, but without defining anything. And that's how they get the Democrats to vote for their candidates, just keeping it as unclear as possible.
So, well, but she's pretty clear about a couple of things, which is, first off, the second gentleman had an affair. So I got to ask you, Cheryl, I don't want to get you in trouble, but do you think that he must have had that affair before he started this transition and had his penis cut off? Is that correct? Do you think that's a good assessment?
That's gotta hurt.
Well, it probably did. I mean, I don't know about you, Chris, but I think cutting something off might be painful. Just say it. I've never tried it. I've never tried it.
So is that why Kamala Harris is considering having John Wayne Bobbitt as her vice presidential pick?
Oh man! Oh my!
There's a blast from the past.
We better cut this one short, huh?
Oh.
Well, Cheryl and I used to live not too far from John Wayne Bobbitt, and he was in Woodbridge. That penis got cut off and thrown in Woodbridge, Virginia. Just saying.
Not to looking for it or something like that, just to see if you can get the reward.
Just saying. Oh my!
But, Carol, before you answer that question, I did find her page of accomplishments, by the way.
It
is on her website, and it's right here. It's easy to read.
There it is.
There we go. That works for the entire Democrat Party, I think.
And for Tony, here's George Stephanopoulos after the nose job.
Yeah, there it is. That's him. So, well, I think Trump was right to say no to ABC because I think he's legitimately sued him. He sued George, for over George saying he's a rapist. He was not found guilty of rape. So I think Trump has every reason to say no. Plus, he didn't agree to Kamala. He agreed to Joe. And he said, yeah, Joe, and Joe's not the guy. So do you think that's going to hurt Trump? And do you think they're going to actually debate at some point since Kamala said no to the Fox debate?
Yeah, I think they're going to have to debate at some point, but it's probably not going to be for a few weeks or so until they hash out an agreement. And no, I don't think it's going to hurt Trump at all. I think the American voter is pretty savvy nowadays about how the media is in bed for the Democrats. And it's only the farthest left of left who think that the mainstream media report the truth these days. And that's where Democrats get their votes from.
Yeah. So, well, that's my next question then relating to the votes. So when it relates to the trajectory, I have a compound question for you. Do you believe the polls? And do you believe all these Republicans, the Republicans for Kamala? That's the big thing. Like Adam Kinzinger, who's still looking for his testicles to drop so he can go through puberty. He is. Look at him. He's always about to cry. For God's sake, it's like he just watched the end of Old Yeller every time he's on the news. It's like so. But anyway, so
maybe he's the VP pick then. I mean, that would be perfect. They both sound like they're crying when they campaign.
So, but my question is, do you believe the polls, and do you think that these Republicans for Kamala are real?
So to answer the second one first, the Republicans for Kamala, right? I don't think Trump has anything to worry about losing that camp of voters because he never had it in the first place.
Yeah.
The big mistake he would make is by thinking that he needs those votes to win and starts watering his message. And I do not think that's a danger with Trump. Good. And regarding the polls, that's an interesting question, right? Because, we all look at polls daily. They're just put out so many times a day anymore. And to me, the polls are only truthful if you get like a collection of polls that are saying things that normally the mainstream media does not want to report. When you see CNN starting to report that Trump is up 5 points in national polls, that to me strikes of more truth. And really, it's probably undervaluing the number that he's leading by. And when you deal with polls, you really have to look at the poll questions because the media will just take the press release that goes with the polls, or they'll take the headline that comes with the polls and they'll run with with it. But if you look at the numbers, you find out very frequently that's not what the poll says at all. And so the media really skew polls, and it's a disservice to the American people because they only look at the X headlines nowadays, really.
Here's another poll. Here's another poll theory for both of you. And again, I think I've brought this to you, Tony. Cheryl, what are your thoughts on this? We're working, but people who would vote for Donald Trump are working. They're too busy. When they get home, we're too tired to answer these phone calls and stick on an answer, agree, disagree, strongly agree, or this is the person I'd vote for 5, 10, 15 minutes. I'm sorry. When I see a pollster or any kind of spam type call on my voter ID, I'm not picking that up. Too busy. And that's what most Trump voters are.
Yeah.
So the polls will skew to the left in that respect.
Yeah, and Democrats actually pay for a lot of their activists, right? When I was in local news, I used to cover planning and zoning commissions and board of supervisors meetings and so forth. And this one particular community that I covered, the people in it were radical environmentalists. They didn't want any development at all. And so a lot of the organizations there, the environmental organizations, used to send paid activists to cover these meetings and to act as if they were citizens expressing their opinions to really oppose any kind of development. And really, I think that's what happens with the polls, what you just pointed out, that conservatives are too busy working and raising their families. Democrats have plenty of time and money to spread to hire people to voice an opinion, to pretend as if it's the voice of the public.
So that's the thing. It's like they're not the voice of the public. As a matter of fact, I don't think they're the voice of the Democrats either. I think they've taken and hijacked the Democrat Party in such a way that the party itself has been, you've had people leave the Democrat Party, Cheryl, like some of the most notable, RFK Jr. I think clearly he would have been happy to run on the ticket. Tulsi Gabbard gave it a good shot. And I think both of them, while I don't agree with the politics of both, they could not get a fair shot in their own party because they've become essentially a party of Marxists. What do you think?
Oh, definitely a party of Marxists. I was about to say that when you finished speaking, so you beat me to the punch on that. But look, the Democrat Party in general hates America now. I mean, there's no other way to look at what this Democrat Party pushes and conclude that they are for America. Everything they do is aimed at destroying America from within. And those Democrats who might still be moderate in the party and love America, where are their voices? Why aren't they out there speaking out? What they do is they jump ship and they leave the party, like those two examples you just gave.
Yeah. So and look, I know, full disclosure, I know Tulsi. I think she's a magnificent human being. I think she's actually, and Cheryl, I think this is what really drove her to leave the party. I don't know her dad. I've had a friend of mine who worked for her dad in Hawaii, Senator Gabbard. He was a guy who was very concerned about the people he represents. I think Tulsi learned that from him, and I think based on my advising her when she was still a Democrat, on national security issues, I think she left the party because she saw that her actual concerns about people were being ignored by the party. Do you think that's an accurate assessment of kind of why these people are leaving their party?
I do. And honestly, I just wonder why more aren't leaving or more aren't speaking out, because it just, the party shouldn't be this way. It was only under Bill Clinton just a few years ago, really, that the party stood still for something that represented America. I didn't agree with the way they wanted to achieve those goals in most respects, but they didn't hate America. And then it was Barack Obama. That's where I pinpoint it. Barack Obama brought the party to this really radical route where it's more communist in agenda than it is pro-America or even Democrat.
So that brings me to my next question. Speaker Pelosi said that Joe Biden should be the Geronimo hind end of his horse. No, she didn't say that. She said he should be on Mount Rushmore, which is like, really? Mount Trashmore in Virginia Beach, maybe. But my question to you regards the direction of the party, because you can bring up Mount. No, there it is. where she's basically after 2 bottles of vodka and I think probably a good dose of Ambien as well, was speaking out about Joe Biden becoming enshrined in granite. Right, Chris? That's granite stone. So
Yeah. Oh.
he's pretty stony already.
Well, funny thing is, Nancy Pelosi may be correct in saying that Joe Biden is a consequential president. In fact, he has reinstated tension in the Middle East. He has reinstated the idea that NATO should be an aggressive nation, which America should foot the bill
Aggressive
for
alliance.
entirely, by the way. Yeah.
Aggressive
Okay.
alliance.
Well, no, an aggressive nation. Remember, this is all one world government. We're going to a one world government. So remember, and who's footing the bill for this? The American taxpayer. You
Of
might
course.
as well call it a nation. This is what I'm talking about here.
Well,
All the
but
way
I
flipped
wanted
up,
to get.
yes.
I want to circle back to where we're going regarding Pelosi speaking about Biden. During the same interview, she was asked and kind of was very sketchy, Cheryl, about, well, were you part of the coup? Did you talk to the Oh, I didn't call anybody. Oh, okay. That makes a huge difference. Yeah. I didn't make any phone calls. Oh, okay. There you go, Miss Speaker. But my point is, she was part of the coup, and the coup did elevate Barack Obama's choice, which is, as we were talking about, Kamala. But on that point, Cheryl, Kamala, up until recently, said she's against fracking. She would ban fracking. She's for opening prisons, releasing prisoners. She's for 80% taxation. These are all Marxist ideals now. Do you really believe her public proclamation that, oh, I've changed my mind? Do you really believe she's changed her mind?
That strikes to me like Vladimir Putin pretending like he is not in line with KGB views anymore, right? He's a changed man. I believe he loves freedom and so forth. Look, they're doing the same thing with Kamala Harris as they did with Joe Biden, as they did with Barack Obama. The Democrats always want to make it seem like their far leftist leaders or would-be leaders are really more moderate. They're just middle of the road, average Joes and Janes and so forth. And I hope the American people, those who are still undecided about who they're going to vote for this November, see past that. But really, the media does a very good job of selling these Democrat candidates to those who don't pay attention to politics. And that's really the danger here.
The low information voters, if you will.
Oh, yeah. So we are at right now, as we speak, at the time we're taping this, we've got war indications that something's going to happen in the Middle East.
Yeah.
I don't want to really get into that because I think that whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And as I said earlier on Newsmax, the Biden administration is literally in their own. They are passengers in their own clown car of national security. They have no idea how to stop anything now. They're on the road in a circus, and there's no stopping it. Whatever's going to happen is without regard to anything the Biden administration wants. But the one thing they do have control of is the VP pick. So I don't need you to necessarily tell us who you think, but what kind of VP candidate do you think Harris is going to go for? Because supposedly she's going to announce it by tomorrow, since today's Monday. What do you make of her, what she's got to do on that?
Yeah, I really haven't followed what the line of thought is about the Democrats' VP pick, but I would say that Kamala Harris is going to go for somebody who just advocates even farther left than what she says publicly, who isn't afraid to take on J.D. Vance basically during their debates. And aside from that, I think it's just going to be, Tweedledum and Tweedledee as far as the Marxist partnership goes between Kamala and whoever her pick is.
Well, Governor Walz of Minnesota, that guy actually admitted that, it's not socialism, it's just people helping each other. It's like, yeah, it's not socialism.
Well, you mentioned Tweedledum or Tweedledee. I mean, they're triplet brother. Pritzker is there too. He bears a striking resemblance to both of them, doesn't he?
There you have it.
He's like the Jabba the Hutt of politics.
Actually, he has more of a striking resemblance to to the late comedian John Panetti, if you remember him.
No, I don't remember John.
John Panetti.
Did you know John? Were you guys friends or something?
No. He was a great comedian. He was in Revenge of the Nerds 3, by the way. Oh. And he was in the last episode of Seinfeld. Anyway.
Okay.
Oh my, okay. Well, that's my
I,
obscure reference for the day. There we
yeah, I feel more enlightened by knowing that now. So it's
he was
good.
in Reckless Kelly, as a matter of fact, with Yahoo Serious, one of the greatest movies of all time.
Like a walking Trivial Pursuit, huh? I just
Trivial is the word. Yes.
He cleans up when he bets everything on Trivial Pursuit night. That's for sure. So
I think.
so well, but back to Kamala. So within the context of what is happening now, and I mentioned that the administration is as passengers in their own clown car of national security. Cheryl, who's in charge? Seriously, who's in charge of the government right now? What do you think?
I think what it's been all along. I think it's been the Barack Obama presence and his minions that he had in the White House with him, Susan Rice and Valerie Jarrett, and all those whisperers in his administration's ear, playing the same role in this White House. And it's just. We'll get more of the same if Kamala were to win in the White House.
Oh, yeah.
She would be the face, the more active face, right? At least she won't fall off stairs and ask dead people to come forward and so forth. But it'll be the same influences behind her presidency as well.
I don't know. She may be sending airplanes out to find all that data in the clouds, which is missing.
Yes.
You're gonna like look up. It's like, hey, look, there goes my order at Amazon. I can see it up there.
Well, this is why they're trying to squash the populist movement, and I have to keep reminding people that that Donald Trump is not really a Republican. Grassroots people voted for him. They usurped the Republican elite. A lot of them moved to the Democrats to see if they can kind of ally themselves. And you're going to get more of the same if you have these same people. The Bush, Clinton, Obama era produced the same kind of people. Remember, New World Order was announced back in 1988 by both George W. Bush and now King Charles, Prince Charles, and they've been working on it ever since. This is why Trump is a threat to them, not
no doubt,
not the Republic. He's
no
a
doubt.
threat to them. People he brings in are going to be a threat to them because now he knows what he's doing as far as hiring people. He's scaring them, and I think that's a good sign. That's a reason to vote for Donald Trump.
Yeah. So Cheryl, to carry on Chris's point, how many Americans have circled the square and figured out that it's the New World Order versus us at this point?
Yeah, it's funny because this political contest really isn't about Democrat versus Republican.
No, it's really not.
It is about America versus globalism.
Yeah.
And I think there is a growing awareness among Republicans, among conservatives, among MAGA types. And that's why the fight is being waged so strenuously on our side. We're not just sitting back and just trying to persuade by logical arguments and so forth. We're really banding behind Donald Trump, and we're standing behind him, even as the left attacks. Yeah. So I think that is evidence of a growing awareness. Of course, the other side has the media in its pockets, and that's
no doubt.
That's the biggest problem here. It's the Marxists in the media nowadays that are just propaganda left and right, open, unabashed, and just lie after lie after lie. It is proving successful in the Democrat voting camp.
The Democrats, I think they're a lost cause for the most part. And like we talked about earlier, it's amazing that more Democrats aren't just walking away saying, I can't do this. I can't promote causes which degrade or deny the amazing freedoms of the United States of America. And I think it's sad. So
that's because they don't. It's like a baseball team. I know you're not a big sports guy, but if you're a fan of a sports team, you root for the uniform. You don't really care who's playing in it at times, and your friends are all Democrats. You won't get invited. You won't get hired certain places or promoted. Your friends are at the cocktail parties you won't be invited to unless you're a Democrat. So if they're going woke, you kind of have to go along with them. That's what it is. It's your baseball team. All you're counting is wins for your baseball team. You want to see that Democrat. The Democrats have to get that first woman president out there. That's what you're seeing. You're not seeing any real care towards policy or people that have to live with the consequences of such policy. Yeah. I mean, I'm just throwing this at you guys.
Mm-hmm. So, well, I guess, Cheryl, that's the way we should wrap it up. We're running up to the end of the hour here, but what do you make of the direction of us, the United States? We see right now at the time we're taping this that England's in chaos, and you got the ruling class, who's a World Economic Forum based class, arguing against any protestation against Islamists. So what do you think that could come here?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, look at the open borders and look at what we've known have crossed the open borders already, right? Some of
Yeah.
the elements, terrorists found at the borders, Chinese people coming across the borders, disappearing into parts unknown. That's just what we've known. So, look, I really think when you ask about the hope of America, I really think it's not going to come so much from the political world as it is from the spiritual world. I really think in a nation that was founded on God-given individual rights and liberties that we have moved too far down the path of secularism. And so we've removed God from that equation and allowed big government to step in and become the provider. And that's the reason we're seeing all these issues in America right now. So it's more a spiritual battle to me.
Oh, I agree. And if you look at everything they're doing, like this whole, we're going to forgive student debt, we're going to give you elder daycare and kid daycare. It's all about the government becoming the provider of benefits.
That's
And relieving the individual responsibility. It's like reparations. Oh, we want to give you money because you're a victim. It's all about trying to create this victim mentality. So I think people need to draw strength from God. And by the way, for those, Karen will be back with us tomorrow. We'll do a Calling Jesus with her then. She's really good with that. But I think it's very important that we recognize this is a battle of good and evil. It's a battle of individual freedom versus the state. The Democrats picked up the book 1984 and looked at it as a how-to manual instead of a warning. And I think that's where we're at this point. Right, Cheryl?
Totally agree. That's it in a nutshell.
So anyway, we got to run. I got to do one more read. Cheryl, thank you for being here today. We'd like to have you back soon because obviously things are going to get really interesting as we go towards convention. So the folks always enjoy our conversation. So thanks for being here.
Thank you. Talk to you in a few hours.
See you soon. That's right.
That's right. Anyway, Brave and the Bold podcast.
That's right. Brave and the Bold. So I'll be back on with her on that. So Chris, I got to do one more read here before we go. So again, Paul Stone and company are our friends who can help you do a better job of protecting your family, your resources, and ensuring your economic success in the future. Who doesn't want to be successful, right? Who doesn't want to be sound in a period of chaos? Well, we want to help you. So Paul Stone and Colonial Metals Group can do that. So be sure and check them out. The banners below, you can look at the website, colonialmetalsgroup.com/ed-henry/ go check them out, or 800-805-4034, and tell them obviously that we sent you over to see them. And Paul will be here tomorrow, right, Chris?
I believe he will. Yes, Paul Stone. We're going to have Jerry back as well, and Karen Turk, as you said. So it'll be a fun-filled week.
And so on Wednesday, and I do want to, I'll promote it tomorrow. We are having a gala. I don't go to galas much, but this one I'm going to have to because my name's on it. We're going to have to do it. We're going to be doing a gala at Mar-a-Lago on the 13th of February for the National Veterans Parade. So we'll put that out tomorrow. The website is up. It's going hot today at some point. I sent you the preview last night. It's not, I don't think it's up yet, but it'll be up soon. Yeah, anyway, that's a way of supporting the National Veterans Parade, is actually going to I've never been to Mar-a-Lago. Do you know that?
No, I never get invited places like that.
I don't either.
I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to fly anymore. So
I think they're afraid I'm going to steal a silverware or something, So geez, just saying.
Or some documents. I don't know.
Or some documents. Well, probably that too. It's like in the movie True Lies, where I sneak through the ice and have a tuxedo on under my wetsuit, So
I would be more like Lieutenant Frank Drebin trying to sneak in at the Queen's Ball or something like that.
But he made it in,
and leaving the microphone on by accident. But
Moon River. That's a great scene. We were just talking about that yesterday. All right, so folks, Patriots, good seeing you all this morning. We will be back again tomorrow. It's going to be deja vu all over again tomorrow and Wednesday again. So anyway, we're getting into the new rhythm. Karen will be here tomorrow. I did text some folks. So until then, keep the hope, keep the faith, turn to God, make sure you say your prayers and do the good things necessary to protect you and your family. And until then, we'll see you tomorrow.